Hello and welcome. I am Light and this is my podcast. Rob is here with me today. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Tracy. I don't know why you bother saying that, to be honest.
I
It's
know
a
I've
lot.
decided. I was thinking the same thing when I said it. I was like, why don't I just say, just go right into hi, Rob,
Yeah,
or say hi, Rob, or I don't know. Right off the bat, you're on me. Right off the bat. I didn't even get a chance to tee up. Okay, so just so people know, there might be a couple of minutes when Rob is just talking and endlessly talking because I am on exit light number 2, baby watch, and I might have to take a phone call. In which case, Rob's going to have to talk about whatever Rob wants to talk about for a couple minutes. Okay, Rob?
that's fine, yeah.
Within reason, I mean.
That's fine as well.
Okay, so we are doing part 2 of the Appalachian Mountain hauntings, am I right?
We are.
Okay, and I really liked doing the first one. That was fun.
Yeah, it was good. It was interesting. It was learned a lot. Learning all
Yeah,
the time where the Appalachian Mountains are.
yeah. Where we're gonna go on our trip. If you too would like to donate to our vacation / haunted trip, Rob and I will be going to the New England area to all the haunted places, and we'll be filming it. So you too can participate. And if you would like to donate, on my page, my channel's page, there is a PayPal donation button in which you can donate any amount you choose. Any amount is greatly appreciated. Rob and I are putting that towards our trip or saving up money, and it'll be something similar to Scooby-Doo, I think. Or Ghost Hunters. That's what would really get Rob going. Maybe we can get Zach Bagans. Maybe we can see him. Then Rob would be happy. Also, if you are not subscribed, not again. If you are
Subscribed.
not subscribed and you would like to be, go ahead and click that button.
That
If you
bell.
would like to be the bell. Wait, no. Yes, whatever. If you'd like to be notified when my content goes live, go ahead and click that bell. And what are you supposed to do with that like button, Rob?
You can smash it. Smash the like button. Because all the likes we get help the channel very much.
Yes, they do. It helps us to be recommended to other viewers at the end of videos they're watching, which means they come our way, and we appreciate that. So, is there anything else we have to say, Rob, before we start?
No, I think that's everything. That's
All right,
everything.
then. Okay, then. Let's get started into this. If you want, Rob, I can start.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, my iPad just fell on my not so funny bone. Okay. So here we go. We were talking last week about this camp, and I am going to try to find the name of it for you right now. Elkmont Resort. And It says it's not operational right now, but what they did was they used to have these huts up in this resort, cabins and whatnot, where, families could go on vacation every summer and whatnot. And these stories are going to be coming from that place, which is called the Appalachian Mountain Club. And this is my first story from the Appalachian Mountain Club. On Mount Washington, on July 1974, after Lake's hutmaster, Jack Tracy, that's a lovely, lovely last name, by the way, got a radio call, it seems that a hiker and his son had been heading to spend the night at the lakes. And the wife was worried, as they were supposed to call her from the summit. How is that supposed to happen from 1974? Just a landline, I guess.
Maybe they had, maybe there was a phone line at the top of the mountain.
So Jack agreed to run to the summit in the fog and the wind, calling into the wind for missing hikers as... Wait, can I start over again?
What, everything?
No. This part.
Of course you can.
Part. They had not made the call, nor had they arrived at the hut below. Jack agreed to run to the summit in the fog and wind, calling into the wind for the missing hikers.
What missing hikers?
The man and his son. There was a man and his son.
Oh, right,
and Jack was the hutmaster. Okay, so he agreed to run to the summit.
That makes sense.
In the fog and the wind, and he was calling into the wind for the missing hikers as he ascended. When he approached the cross erected near where hikers Paul Zanet and Judy March had died in 1958, the clouds lifted momentarily. Suddenly, a loud, desperate cry rang out, and Jack stopped, thinking he was hearing the missing hikers. He called out and got no response. And with the clouds swirling back in and night approaching, he returned to the hut and discovered that the lost hikers he'd been looking for had never left the valley. He also learned that it was the anniversary of Paul and Judy's death. Jack said that recalling the plaintive cry brings a chill to me still. That's kind of scary. How did they die? Did they die screaming? Oh. Hold on, let's see. Joe Gill on Jack's crew that summer also had an eerie experience near the Paul and Judy cross, hoofing it to meet the truck that brought up the supplies. When Joe arrived at the cross, the fog opened up and a little beam of sunshine came through. As he walked into the beam, the shaft of sunlight hit him on the chest and knocked him down. Gill said he has no idea what caused that incident. Well,
no, I don't believe
unpleasant. You don't?
No, that's just the weather. That's the weather.
Does the weather oftentimes knock you down?
It didn't knock him down. Come on.
It didn't?
Let's be grown up about this. It didn't knock him down.
I don't know this guy. I'm not calling him a liar. I mean...
It's like when people say, oh, the clouds parted and all of a sudden there was that. It's not miraculous. That is just weather.
But the sunbeam knocked him down. Perhaps it was a ray from a UFO. You don't know. Whatever. Okay. So you This is really funny because I don't think there hasn't been much that you haven't believed before. Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Rob.
So both incidents,
Yes.
the clouds parted, and there's a
Both
beam of light.
instances. Well, the first one that he heard just horrific screaming, and it scared him. And the clouds came, and it was night, so he ran back down, which, by the way, was super helpful. If I am horrifically screaming and somebody comes to help me, what I'd like them to do is hear it, turn around, and run away. Thanks a lot. Rob, can you tell a story? Because I have a phone call I need to take.
Yeah, of course, come.
Okay.
Okay, guys. We're talking about a place called Charlotte's Hall in Maryland. Charlotte's Hall Veterans Home. The Charlotte's Hall Veterans Home was built in the early 1700s. It was originally a school and then a military academy. Many students died there from sports accidents. What kind of sports were they doing? Drowning in the nearby pond and several heart attacks. While there had been rumours of a fire killing children in the early 1900s, this story was disproved. The children that apparently haunt the hallways and the pond are accident victims. A plaque, dedicated to one boy who drowned in 1909, Pierre, graces the entrance to the building. Now, would you send your children there to this military academy or to the school as it originally was? Many students had died from sports accidents, drowning in the nearby pond, and several heart attacks.
With heart attacks? Children having heart attacks?
Yeah. Crazy. Many students died from sport. What kind of sports accidents would kill you? Drowning
And give
in the
you
nearby
heart attacks? Not many.
That's a crazy place. Have I said that right, Maryland?
Maryland. Yeah.
Maryland.
Yeah.
So, what happened to your phone call?
Nothing yet. I mean,
Nothing yet.
She's not going yet, but she wanted to tell me about her pain. She needs her mom. So I said, okay, that's great, but I'm on a podcast. Love you. Bye.
Tell you about my pain if you want.
I'll tell you about my pain if you'd like.
She lives about 10 miles away. We won't name any names.
Okay. Okay, so I take it that you're not going to do the top half of that paper I gave you, that Appalachian Mountain Club. Is that true?
No. Yeah, yes, sorry, it is true.
Oh, okay.
Because,
okay.
Like you put me on the spot here now. Like I did explain to you, I was rather poorly yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
By the way,
the point is, I'll just tell the stories myself.
So people don't think I'm really, really unprofessional. Tracy actually sent me this attachment.
Yes.
Knowing that my printer doesn't work at the moment.
The attachment.
Oh, you did, but anyway.
I don't print anything off, but okay. I didn't know you had to print it off.
Yeah, and it was the smallest writing in the history of the world.
Is that a
And I
true fact, though?
yeah, it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
You've had this
But
verified?
what I did do yesterday while I was being poorly, I did watch a couple of documentaries about the Appalachian ghosts,
Oh,
and the first story that you told,
yes.
I think where the log cabins are now,
Uh,
in are they in um, a national
is it,
park?
what? Are they in a that national park?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
because I watched this documentary yesterday about a ghost. Ghost. There's a lot, supposedly. There's a
Hmm.
lot of ghost towns and ghost villages,
Yes. Yeah.
and they're in some kind of no man's land at the moment. Whether
Hmm.
there's the national park wants to knock them down, and this um, organisation that saves um, older buildings. I don't know if they'd be listed buildings, but it's got an actual name that I can't remember. Um, they want to keep they want to um, sort of repair.
National Historical. Wait, the National Historical Society, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, they want to repair them and get them back up to being used again. But the National Parks Department want to knock them down and just get rid. Like we talked about this before about America, they just want to knock shit down.
Hmm.
But this has been going on now for 3 decades. This argument
Hmm.
about whether they're going to keep them and repair them or just knock them down
Right.
um, or knock some of the ones that are really in bad repair down and save some of the others. But the no one can agree. So basically, no one's doing anything. And while no one's doing anything, these cabins are falling in more and more into disrepair.
Hmm.
So maybe the Parks Department was going to get their way in the end because they're going to be so beyond being repaired by the time anyone's made a decision that it's another place gone. But supposedly, where this village was found, it was found by a hiker.
Mm.
He was out hiking and he came across this village basically. Um, but no one knows whether that's the truth or not. But that's the story that they're going with at the moment. And no one knew it was there until, I mean, we're talking a good 50 years ago. Because they've been backwards and forwards whether what they're going to do, whether they're going to build or repair or knock down or whatever. But I'm just wondering if it's the same place that you taking your story from the first story that we did today. If it's the actual same place.
I think there's a couple different places. I think there's several different places. Which, if I was a hiker and came across an abandoned town, I can't even tell you the excitement that would be, how exciting that would be for me. I wouldn't tell anybody. It would be my secret place. How exciting. How
Hmm.
weird. I would love that.
Hmm.
You know, when I was growing up, I've told the story 100 times probably. When I was very little, we lived, most we lived in a forest. I don't know what else to call it but a forest. We lived in a forest, and my parents had bought this land for to own and use as a trailer park. So a lot of the forest had been had the trees had to be removed and blah blah blah. But the rest of it, my brother and I, by the way, the ages of 4 and 5 and 2 and 3, would go out and explore. And on the other side of our property was an airport that had been there for it was for tiny little airplanes, the little propeller kind.
Yeah.
And so keep that in mind. So
Okay.
that's over on the other side. And we would go out and explore and find little huts out there and cars from the 1920s out there. And at the age of 4 and 5, it just fascinated me, and I knew somehow that this must have been something illegal that had to do with the airport. Because, why would you just, in the middle of a forest where there's no roads, there were some, a little kind of trails, but they had been grown over, of course, because of the years and everything. But I think they must have maybe did, moonshine out there or something.
Sounds like the mob.
I think they did moonshine, and they just took it over to the airplanes, and they could fly it somewhere. But I mean, even at the age of 5, which I don't know what I don't know what my parents were thinking. Oh, hey, you're 4. Take your 2-year-old brother and meander through the forest. You'll be fine, I'm sure. But I maybe they were hoping we wouldn't make it back. Because they did it every day. I'm sure you haven't investigated the entire forest. They would pack me a lunch and my brother lunch and be like, okay, bye. I don't know. But the point of the story is,
did he take you out with blindfold?
Now the more I'm talking about this, the more I'm thinking, what the
Did he spin you around loads and loads of times and then run off?
It's possible. Yeah, that is suspicious at the least, and not something I'd put past my mother, to be honest. My dad, on the other hand, I don't think he would have let it happen, but he did let us go, so I don't know. Anyway, so it's been since that long that I have been interested in history. That was what started my fascination with, why would these people abandon these houses? And I would take a rake with me, and clean up the little yard in front of the hut. I don't know. When you live out in the country and in the forest, I guess. Well, then we graduated to making, human traps. So, whatever. If I'm a little weird, there are reasons. Just saying. So let me talk to you about Doug. Okay.
Okay.
So, this dude named Doug was staying at the Appalachian Mountain Club.
Oh, right.
And during a rainstorm in June with extremely high winds, crew members were in their bunk and they were talking. Suddenly, there was a tapping on a window. Doug shone his flashlight, and we, quote unquote, we saw a ghost-like nebulous figure outside the window. Doug says that he is, he's somebody who really believes in ghosts, but he doesn't have an explanation for what this was either. It moved into the wind and disappeared from the view of that window. I shone the light on the right window, and the same ghost-like figure was in that window. And then it moved across the window and into the 80-mile-per-hour winds. Most of us saw it. We all hunkered under our blankets, and we decided we didn't want anything else to do with the apparition. Another time, while using the men's room, Doug heard the jiggling of the flush handle in a stall between him and the bathroom door. He spoke out, and he got no answer. Those type of experiences were always accompanied by a strong feeling of a presence of something that wasn't normal. If I was him, I would have saved the bathroom story, kept that to myself. And if you shine a flashlight into a window, you really just get the light
Flashlight.
back. Yeah, right? You just get the flashlight. I think they were scared because it was so windy and stuff.
Yeah. Did you say he had a man's broom? Sorry, Trace. You said he had a man's... I'm not with it at all today. A man's broom.
Men's room.
Men's room.
Men's room.
Sorry.
Oh. Jeffrey Dahmer was killed by a men's broom.
I swore you said men's broom. I swore you said men's room. Men's room, obviously. Yeah, oh, no.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It's okay.
Oh, I'm not well, everyone. Sorry.
They know. They know. It's okay.
I'm sat here like, what's she talking about?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Do you have something else you'd like to talk to us about?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay.
The Smith Trehearne Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Built in 1859. It's quite old. This stately mansion was home to Mr. and Mr.
Hey, that was a group in the 80s.
Mr. and Mrs. Christopher Smith. Mr. Smith.
Could that, just out of curiosity, could that be any more generic? Unless it was Mr. No, stop it. Mr. and Mrs. John Smith. Okay, go ahead.
Just seeing what the first says. Well, the first name is, but it doesn't say. Anyway, Mr. Smith was a riverboat captain, and he also made his fortune raising tobacco. One fateful day, Mr. Smith went sailing on the river in bad weather. Sea weather again. And he was drowned. When the news reached Mrs. Smith, she refused to accept that it was true. She spent the rest of her days walking alone through the mansion and staring out of the windows, waiting for her husband to return to her. Visitors to the historic mansion claim they can still see Mrs. Smith staring out of the upper windows of the mansion and believe the sight to be that of an actor reenacting the story. Individuals who work there will tell you there is no such actor staring out of the windows of the building. What do you think about that? Would you fancy going there for the night?
Yeah, I would. I'd like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Okay, let's see. Chris Thayer literally felt the presence of something ghostly at Lakes just before the hut opened to summer guests in 1991. Now, the Appalachian Mountain Club's White Mountain Facilities Director, Chris was a second-year crew member who was in the men's bathroom when he felt the weight of a hand on his shoulder. Okay. He thought crew member Tom Johnson. Oh, come on.
To be a theme running through tonight's podcast.
Come on. He thought crew member Tom Johnson or someone else was playing a trick on him.
Yeah.
I could feel the weight of the hand and a warm breath. I thought, very funny. Chris turned around to find no one there, but the weight of the hand on his shoulder remained, and even gave him a gentle squeeze. Kind of a, how are you? Chris believes the experience represented a welcoming squeeze from the ghosts of past huts. It was definitely something, and it was definitely comforting, Chris said. I don't dwell on it, but it's kind of a neat thing. If somebody is touching you in a bathroom, and his last name is Johnson. Something tells me something that doesn't make sense. Okay, less comforting is a ghostly experience that occurred near Mount Washington. An 1881 New York Times article titled "A White Mountain Ghost Story" described how visitors near the summit were hiking near a monument erected to Lizzie Bourne, who died at the age of 23 in a snowstorm there, September 1855. When they saw a whitish figure rising up from the stones, just as if she was coming to the surface, borne upward by some mysterious stage mechanism. Then, as she got to the top, she assumed a definite shape, that of a pretty girl with a sad face and flowing robes and hair. She appeared to point to her with her right hand toward the glimmering lights of the tip-top house. Then, dropping to her knees, she clasped her hands as if in prayer. In another instance, the clouds scuttled away. The moon looked down as bright as ever, and the ghost, or whatever it was gone.
That's quite sad.
Yes, it is.
Well, apparently not to you.
Well, those are two opposite ends of the spectrum stories. Like, anyway, you got one yet?
Just a sec, let me have a look. See, I took my medicine and no one knows.
I heard it.
I couldn't have unmuted the phone.
I heard it. I was there.
See, I've got one here, but it can't be real. Will you tell another one when I have a look?
Yeah. The epicenter of Mount Washington is not the only place where hut crew members saw or felt things they couldn't explain. In May 1980, Scott Maycomer hiked up to Greenleaf Hut a mile below the summit of Mount Lafayette for 3 days as a fill-in float caretaker. That night, he and another AMC employee slept on opposite sides of the crew's sleeping quarters on a loft just off the kitchen. For the next 3 nights, Scott awoke in the middle of the night to discover a male presence in the room. The presence was silent, but rummaging through some boxes, and also leaned over and reached out to touch the other employee. Each night, Scott called out to the person, but got no response. When he turned on his headlamp, the person was not there. But he recalled every time it happened, I felt there was a real person in the room. When Scott returned to Pinkham Notch Camp, he soon found out that The day before he had arrived at Greenleaf, Huntman Ben Campbell had died while hiking in Scotland. Ben was a hut master at Greenleaf the previous summer. He had left some of his boxes of personal belongings at the hut and was thought to be close to the other crew member. The only thing that explains it is that it was the spirit of Ben coming back to a very familiar place. A scientist by training, Scott noted that this experience during those 3 nights fly into the face of everything he believes. If anybody ever asks me if I believe in ghosts, I say no. But I have a very strong feeling that what happened to me was very real, and I can't explain it any other way. I have another one.
I've got another one as well.
Okay.
Before I read this one, I want to apologise because it will make itself clear in a minute why I'm apologising. I'm just reading it. In the late 1700s, a man named Joseph Baker built a log cabin in Withenville. The cabin later became part of the foundations of the future Major Graham Manson. Major Graham Manson, built in the 1830s.
The future Graham Mansion.
No, Graham, his surname is Mansion.
It became the site of the future Graham Mansion.
The cabin later became part of the foundations of the future Major Graham Mansion. The way it's abbreviated, his surname is Mansion, or similarly. But anyway, built in the 1830s. Ghosts. Go on.
I'm just confused. It's okay. Go ahead.
Because it says now to haunt ghosts are said to haunt the mansion.
The Graham Mansion.
Graham.
Right?
Graham.
How do you spell it?
Graham.
Yeah.
Graham. Graham.
Graham. That's Graham. Graham. Oh, Graham.
Graham Mansion.
Graham.
Sorry, is it my accent that's...
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. It's okay. It is.
We're going to get told off again, aren't we?
Confusing me.
What?
I'm going to tell them that. Last week, somebody said to me, buy a map, please.
Get told off again.
I know. So like, it's the Graham Mansion, not Graham Mansion.
And by the way, whoever did post that, thank you. I appreciate it.
That helpful piece of advice. As a matter of fact, I have bought a map. Thank you very much. And it's on the wall next to Rob right this minute. Whatever. Leave your little nasty notes. Whatever. It's not like we're in the middle of a world pandemic and fire in the streets and my father passed away. But you feel free to leave your shitty little note, okay? Okay.
Okay now. Now you've insulted everybody that listens to us.
No, not everybody leaves us little notes. Like, I hate your voice. Would you go kill yourself? Those kind of notes. Those are my favorite. If I go kill myself, who are you going to yell at in a little message on YouTube?
Oh, I think I've just wet myself.
you think about it that way, I'm doing you guys a favor.
Oh, God, no. What are we talking? I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
I don't know. Killing me. Okay, so this mansion thing.
Oh, right, hang on. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Hang on. The ghosts that are said to haunt the mansion include Joseph Baker and his two slaves. Mr. Baker had promised to leave, promised to the slaves the freedom upon his death. The two slaves decided to hurry the aspects of their release along, and not only murdered their owner, but added him to a corn mash they were making.
They what?
I don't know what corn mash is, so
I don't either, but corn mash. Isn't that... I don't want to be told by a cookbook.
but added him to a corn mash that they were making in front of their cabins. When news of the crime spread, the two slaves were captured. Blah, blah, blah.
It's liquor, by the way. It's booze.
All right, okay. Today, locals believe that the three ghosts continue to haunt the property. Once Major Graham took over ownership of the property, he... Oh.
Wait a minute here, Rob. I
What?
think I've deduced something. His last name was Graham. Not Mansion.
Right. Well, you might be right. It's Joe, like that's his name. That's all I can say. Can we just leave this one?
Yes, please.
Can we just leave it? Because
though?
basically it's haunted. Whether it's his name or it's not a name, whether he lives there or he didn't live there, whether his second name is Mansion or Smith or Jones or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It was haunted. Okay, are you ready? Here's the story of the ghost of 16-year-old Betsy Roberts, who, some people say, haunts Mizpah Spring Hut. Earl Perkins and Bill Otten tell the story in their book, Last Climbs and Fatal Errors, which I think we just had, by the way. Fatal error. Betsy died in August 1971 while trying to cross the rain-swollen Dry River, which is ironic that the river's name was Dry River, during a family hike. The AMC rescuers found her body early the next morning. The party arrived at the hut around 5:30 a.m. and stopped at the hut briefly for food and rest, during which time they reportedly stored Betsy's body in the basement. Ever since, numerous hutmen and hutwomen have reported seeing or feeling Betsy's presence while in Mizpah's basement. Another unverified story about a Mizpah tells of young girls' voices being heard calling for their mother, and an apparition of a girl standing on the first floor of the hut. A number of stories about ghost sightings in the huts cannot be verified. For years, people have talked of hearing footsteps at Galehead Hut, which is appropriately nicknamed Ghoul. Another story circulates about a construction crew worker at the lakes who during the late 60s or early 70s was found one morning cowering in the corner of the kitchen holding an axe in front of him. One of the best known stories about the hut ghosts happened to Joe Gill while he was the caretaker of Carter Notch Hut during the winter of 1975 to 1976. Joe said that one night the banging open of the hut front door of the crew room woke him up. What was odd was that the doors, which had opened in different directions, both banged open. Joe sat up to find the beam of a flashlight in his face. I said hello twice, he recalled, and no one answered. Picking up his own flashlight, Joe shone it across the room and saw a flashlight lying on another bunk. He put out the other light, closed both doors, and went back to bed. What? At a radio call the next morning, he found out that Milton, Red Mac, McGregor, former hutman, and the hut's manager, who had hired the legendary Joe Dodge, had died the night before. I thought right away, oh, that was it. It seemed like the natural thing to think.
Oh, a bit spooky.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, oh, every door in the room is opening and slamming, and there's a flashlight on the bed that turned on by itself. I'll just go back to bed. Not me. I'd call you, Rob.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're so kind.
I know. Do you have another story, Rob, that you can?
I've ruined enough stories tonight. I haven't got any more.
Okay. Noland Creek Trail makes this list of haunted places in East Tennessee for several reasons. First, the trail itself boasts tons of cemeteries and old homesteads along its trail. The Lake Fontana area contains several settler communities, and their presence can still be seen in the gravestones marking the trail. It is also the haunt of Spearfinger, who we'll get to later. There also exists a legend of a settler who died searching the hills for his lost daughter. Now, perhaps to make up for not locating his beloved daughter, a light is said to guide lost hikers to safety on the trail. Spearfinger. Spearfinger is said to roam Nolan Creek Trail and Whiteside Mountain. Spearfinger may be one of the creepiest Cherokee folklore traditions. You might want to stay clear of these haunted places in the Smoky Mountains, as Spearfinger is one frightening spirit to encounter. Said to have a long blade of obsidian as her right forefinger, Spearfinger lurks in the shadows, her mouth stained with blood from the livers of small children she's managed to lure away from their parents. She walks around clenched, her right hand tightly as to protect her one weak spot, her heart hidden in her right palm. The Cherokee were distrustful of anyone who wandered away from the village for too long, since Spearfinger possesses the ability to shape-shift. As a result, this fearful presence could take the form of seemingly harmless squirrels or a faint shadow in the forest. Spearfinger appears throughout Cherokee stories and is said to make her home in the highest ridges of the Smokies. It's not surprising that the Cherokee told stories of shapeshifters who stalked the mountains. If you go on a hike in a quiet part of the park, it's easy to become spooked by a sudden sound by some unseen animal. Some hikers even report the feeling that they are being watched as they make their way through the forest. Perhaps it's just a squirrel moving through the leaves, or perhaps it's Spearfinger on her way to claim her next victim.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, that's a scary one. I feel like was there not a movie made about that?
Well, do you know what it sounds very much like? The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel.
Yes. That's it. Yes, that's it. I think that it must have been based on that.
Yeah, because it's a good old film, that.
Yeah, it actually is. Anyway, I'm done with my Appalachian ghost stories. I love a good ghost story.
I love a good ghost story.
I'm sitting in the dark with my fireplace going, and yeah, it's summer, so, and my salt lamp glowing, and it's fun to have a ghost story. Creepy.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that. What are we doing next? Where's our journey taking us next time in the Appalachians? What we doing
Next time in the Appalachians, we'll be talking about the types of cryptids.
Cryptids.
Cryptids. You know how you and I love a good cryptid.
Yeah.
That's what we'll be talking about.
Cryptid. Chupacabra.
I wish. No chupacabras. Someday I might make one.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's possible. Well, Rob, I like talking about the hauntings of the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't do that one that you sent me, but I think I made up for it.
Okay.
I'll just being honest.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry I didn't do what you wanted me to do for the podcast, but I have my own mind. I'll be me. I'm gonna do me. Okay.
Now, I never said that. People listen. I didn't say that.
No, not yet, but you will as soon as we get off.
Will I?
I don't want to go any farther than that.
What's it called? It's okay. It's nothing to do with the podcast. I was just thinking out loud.
Are you kidding me right now?
What?
That was very weird, Rob. You have to finish that sentence.
I was going to ask you what Instagram was called. But then I thought it's inappropriate to ask during a podcast what Instagram's called. And then I've had to ask you anyway because you're a woman, and obviously once you start a sentence, you have to finish the sentence. So there you go, everybody. I was trying to think what Instagram was. Sorry, blame chaser.
Because I'm a woman.
Well, you are.
So on next week's podcast, it's going to be just me talking about cryptids. Anyway, that is you can't be like, so I need to ask you something, and then be like, oh, never mind. What? A woman will not let that go. Nobody will let that go. And by the way, Instagram is called Instagram.
Yeah, I know that now, boy.
Anyway, Rob, if you guys are not subscribed, I don't blame you. If you would like to be, though, go ahead and subscribe. If you would like to be notified when our content goes live, well, please click that bell. It's not always like this. Well, yeah, it is. Yes, I can't say that. It is sometimes a cluster F. I need to be monetized. And if you would like to share this with somebody, maybe your ex-boyfriend who just started dating your best friend, feel free to do that. Go outside their house, just blare it. Do that. I don't care. And if you would like to donate for me and Rob to actually go to these scary places and experience the ghosts, then I will put down a link below of the link to the PayPal. And I would like to thank everybody who has donated. I appreciate it so much. Brian has donated. I don't I don't have the list right in front of me right now. So I don't want to forget anybody. Next time I'll bring the list so I got everybody. Ian has donated. Todd has donated. Mr. Nomad has donated. Mad Meerkat. And if I'm forgetting somebody, which I know I am forgetting somebody, I will get it. I'll catch you next week. And if you donate this week, then I'll catch you next week as well. And we really appreciate it because oh my God, we'll knock this out of the park. You will be amazed at how well it goes, huh, Rob? You know.
Yeah, very much so.
I think so. I think that'd be so fun. I'll protect you, Rob. Don't worry. Go to Trans-Allegheny Insane Asylum. I can't go there. You can, though.
I wanted to just tell everyone how good Tracy is. On an unrelated thing about not to do with ghosts or ghouls or paranormal stuff. A couple of weeks ago, I posted some pictures of my daughters on Instagram, and Tracy was looking through them, and she came across a picture of my daughter, my youngest daughter, and she said that she's had her eyebrows waxed. And I said, well, she hasn't. And Tracy said, yes, she has. Well, I actually remembered to ask you yesterday, and you were right, Tracy.
Was I?
Yeah, you were right.
There you go. See? I'm telling you. I was going to say I'm intelligent, but everybody be like, oh, we just heard your podcast. All right, you guys. Thank you for coming. And we'll talk to you. And maybe by next week I'll have another baby XLI. That'll be fun. Rob, would you like to say goodnight?
I'd like to say good morning because it's morning, sunny morning here in Cornwall. So I hope everybody is safe, and I hope everybody looks after themselves and the people that they love, and survives another week in this crazy, crazy world.
Well, so far in 2020, we've had Australia burned to the ground, a worldwide pandemic, murder bees. The government of the United States confirmed that there are UFOs. They also told us that NASA discovered a parallel universe that runs backwards in time. It barely made the news. And I'm hoping by next week, we're having America's currently, going through protests, and the whole world is going through protests. And by next week, I'm hoping something good happens, like, yes, there are unicorns or something. This has been a year, and it's not even over. God forbid.
Not even halfway through yet.
I know, it's so crazy. Anyway, I think this has been the craziest year I've ever encountered in my whole life, and that's what psychiatrists are for. So, all right, you guys. I will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye.